Alright, what's up YouTube people? I decided that I would take a crack at doing the Toolbox tour and video and just kind of see what everybody thought. I've never done anything like this before, and usually the videos that I post on YouTube are not content that's based on trying to entertain people watching YouTube. It's just a place to archive my own videos of my race car and stuff like that. Which, it's dusty, it's the off season, give me a break. Under construction. We're going to start off, we're going to do a toolbox tour of the 46-inch Husky. This is a decent box for the money, but it's not a great box. Even as a weekend warrior and a DIY guy, I probably wouldn't buy this box again. It's kind of flimsy. The casters are real cheap. Again, it's a decent box, but it's not an awesome box, even for a budget thing. So keep that in mind if you're toolbox shopping. I really only bought this one because it matched that one. I couldn't find another white box that went with that one. And then I got that one because it was cheap. And it really, I just needed something to serve as a little bit of a catch-all and put some crap away, which you can see that's what we've done. But I think those boxes, that's a 42-inch Craftsman, I think. No, it's not a 42. What is that? We'll see what it is real quick. Okay, so that's a 40, and that one is a 46. But I think these things sold for 350 bucks. Guy had it on Facebook Marketplace for 200. It was still in the box. We opened the box in his garage, and I said, "Will you take 180 bucks for it?" And he said, "Yeah." Anyway, so you can obviously see I'm a pretty staunch DeWalt guy. So when you open this up, it's DeWalt power tools. Mostly. These are the only Milwaukee power tools. The only power tools I have that are not DeWalt except for my table saw and a rigid drill. So this is the Craftsman kit, the 3-bay Craftsman kit that you could buy. I bought that like 15, 20 years ago. 15 years ago probably is about more accurate. And it's been pretty good. And I keep it in these cases because I still have the plastic box that they came in. I keep these drawers rather. Because they're pretty easy and convenient to just grab and, take under the car with you if you need. But I also use this as my traveling socket kit when I go to the racetrack. If I need tools, I want to have something organized, not just stuff floating around in a duffel bag. So I keep these in there, even though it does eat a lot of room in the main drawer. But the DeWalt Impacts, I got this. I wasn't really looking for one, but the 3/8 12-volt DeWalt, I think it's 95 foot-pounds of torque, so it's actually really good. I use it a lot. Old impact, new impact, 18, 20, 20, 12. These are both 12s with different size battery. I think it's like a 2 amp hour battery in that thing. And that's my 1/4 inch. And then my extended Milwaukee, I think it's a 4 amp hour M12 in that thing. Use that a lot. I use that thing all the time. And this thing is a spark plug tool. You screw your spark plug down into there, and then you take this bit and you cut it, and you can take the porcelain completely out of the threads. It's a knockoff of like Induction Solutions. I think Nitrous Express has one for 200 bucks, but if you've got a metal store in town and you got 20 bucks, you can actually make one yourself. Takes a couple hours, but 20 bucks in that versus 200 in buying one from Inductions or Nitrous Express, which theirs are obviously a lot nicer, but I wasn't going to spend 200 bucks on one when you can make that. So this is just a lot of runoff in here. But this is the socket drawer. I use these sockets quite a bit. It's older Craftsman stuff. It's USA Craftsman stuff, so it's still pretty decent. I do go to these a lot because I do roll the cart around with me quite a bit when I do work. But that's the socket drawer. Wrench drawer and a few other things. This is actually a nut from my strange aluminum center section, and I replaced both these because I broke one of them, so I just said screw it. I was abusing them, trying to adjust them. Oil filter wrench, flywheel turning tool, Biondo programmable shift, RPM activated shift switch, These are Klein wrenches. These are really good. I use these not super frequently. I have lots of duplicates, lots of different sets of these wrenches, but these Kleins are very nice. These are really good. But I got these Milwaukees. I sell these at work, actually. I'm a DeWalt guy, but I'm a Milwaukee dealer. Don't tell anybody. But these things are amazing. I use these constantly. This is my favorite set of end wrenches I've ever had. Not saying that they're up to snuff with like Snap-on or Matco or Mac or anything like that. I truly don't know the country of origin on these. I'm sure they're probably Chinese, but this is a fantastic set of wrenches. If you need a good set of wrenches and you want to buy a set, the Milwaukees are great. Love them. Oh, that one's under the car. That one's under the car right here. Okay, had to fetch it from underneath the car. So these flex head, reversible, double box end, extra long wrenches are pretty awesome too. I ended up using both the metrics and the standards today on different projects, you know, doing brake job on my wife's car. Again, I'm just a DIY weekend warrior guy with a hot rod for a hobby. So I don't do anything for money or really I don't even do anything for anybody else at all. Interesting though, the Icon, which everybody knows you get at Harbor Freight, this is their premier brand, whatever. The Mountain, I got these on Amazon. I was looking for a set of these in standard, and I couldn't find a set at Harbor Freight, so I started Weber netting around, and I found these, and they are the exact same wrench. The difference is, this came in a brown box, plain brown unmarked box. This came in the Icon box, which is really nicely marked. It really looks good. Glossy finish on the box and all that. $200, $99. And they are the exact same wrenches. They literally come out of the same factory, so it just tells me that the Icon stuff, half of your value is the packaging. This is the fixed ratcheting on one end, box on the other, Icon, SAE. I bought them. I found them on Facebook Marketplace. The guy was selling them for like $60, so I went ahead and bought them. I use them sometimes. They're totally decent, but I use this one when I'm stretching rod bolts. My rod bolts in the race car motor are 7/16, I believe, so I use this one when I stretch rod bolts, and it does fine. This is just kind of a miscellaneous drawer. Again, not dedicated to automotive or anything like that, but just kind of all-purpose harmonic balancer tool, meter. Hate the UEI meter. Had a fluke. Lost the fluke. Left it sitting on top of a condensing unit. I'm HVAC. At the time, I was a service tech. Now I'm in sales, so I'm a desk jockey now. But left the fluke on a condensing unit. Came outside and the sprinklers were on and it toasted it. That was right before I got out of a service van, so I wanted a meter, so I went ahead and I bought this one because it was half the cost of the fluke. Hate that meter. Calipers, big calipers, and then just other miscellaneous stuff. Mason bits, whammer stapler, whatchamathingy. These are jigsaw bits, nothing major. This is mostly engine assembly tools in here. There's a lot of fun stuff in here. I really like this. This is a cheap oil pump primer. It was specifically called out to be for big block Chevy and small block Chevy. Got it off Amazon. I can't remember what brand it is. It does not work. And the reason is this collar here is a smaller diameter than the distributor. So it fits in there really loose. So this is an old distributor that I cut down to make an oil pump primer out of. This diameter is like 125 thou loose in the bore. So what happens is all the oil just sloshes up out of this, and it doesn't actually pressurize anything other than the main bearings. It does not oil the top end. It's junk. Valve spring compressor. This is a carb jet tool. It's a fuel catch is what it is. You take the carb bolts out of the bowls and you drain your fuel into that. Super handy. Jegs magnetic base for a dial indicator. It's decent. It does the job. I would probably buy a little bit better one if I was going to do it again. And then certain places you don't cheap out when you're stretching rod bolts. Don't buy the Proform or anything like that. Some people might say, hey, you're wrong, the Proform's fine. I went with the ARP one. No regrets there at all. ICT billet. We're here in Wichita, Kansas, supporting local guys. ICT billet camshaft install tool, quintessential. Jegs dial indicator. I know it's just poo-pooing Jegs for something else, but their dial indicator's decent, totally decent. Spanner wrench for third members. Wiseco piston ring compressor. It's a 4.31 bore. Getting ready to have to get a 4.6. Got a new motor being built. Crankshaft socket. Your degree in cams, super important. And then piston stop, top dead center locator, whatever you want to call it. Adjustable link push rods, push rod checker springs. When you're doing your valve train stuff, super important. Gotta have it. Crank gear installer. Harmonic balancer installer, and then I'm not going to dig it all the way out, but that's the 18-inch blue Moroso Pro cam degree wheel. It's I can't see how the guys do it with the little bitty ones. I mean, more power to you. I would ride the struggle bus with that. Really bad. I would not want to use the little ones, but no big deal. It gets the job done, I'm sure. The whammer drawer, whammer clamps, missing my big C-channel vice grips there underneath the car. But you know, when you need to whammer, you go to the whammer drawer. And this is just more miscellaneous stuff. Double flare tool for doing brake lines, automotive soldering kit, or just general all-purpose. This stuff, the extreme pressure lube, I use this in place in certain instances of ARP assembly lube. Per the manufacturer specifications on my connecting rods, Molnar Technologies rods. Easy out kit, tire plug stuff, spark plug boots that I never ended up using, and vacuum bleeder tool, and then just automotive fuses underneath. Nothing major, just kind of miscellaneous stuff. More miscellaneous stuff, household good stuff. Milwaukee bore bit kit. Really like those. Use the crap out of those, especially when I was a service tech. Still use them here on the urban farm quite a bit. And then just different gear pullers and stuff like that down here. What is this? Is this my compression checker? Yep, compression checker tool right there. My rigid drill. I had a DeWalt drill that I lent, a DeWalt 110 volt hammer drill that I lent one of my customers. Guy was in my shop nearly every day, multiple times a week. Guy's in my shop, says he needs to buy one. I said, man, I got one you can borrow. Lent it to him. He got fired, never came back, wouldn't answer my text messages to return my drill. So I went and I bought a Ryobi, and I used it to prime the big block Chevy that's in the Corvette, trying to prime the oil system, and it smoked it within 30 seconds. So I took it back to Home Depot and got the rigid. They did not have the DeWalt one in stock, is the only reason I did that. Old school, love this thing, but I bought this to set pinion tension when you're setting up a 9-inch Ford third member. I guess you could use it for something else if you wanted a bit. Inch pounds. New bearings on a pinion, you're going to set them at 25. Used bearings, you're going to set them, I think, at like 15 or 17. But I do like that. This Mac Tools, yeah, Mac timing light. Snap-on timing light. I bought this off Facebook Marketplace. This thing was so dusty and nasty, like you couldn't even see the light illuminating. I took it all apart and cleaned it up, and this thing is awesome. This thing's a stud. I paid 20 bucks for this thing on the Facebook Marketplace, and I have no regrets about that at all. I use that timing light every time I fire up the motor, or every time I set the timing, rather. Just sanding wheels there. Nothing major. Spare timing light. I've got 3 timing lights. Don't know why. spare. That's one of the old Craftsman's. That is the DIY King right there, or the Budget King. This is hydraulic electric. Yep. Hydraulic press tool for electrical fittings from Harbor Freight. Totally decent. No complaints about that. I've used it quite a bit. Oops. The top box is really just a catch-all. I bought it just to store crap, and that's exactly what I'm doing, storing crap. I'll get to organizing it and making it look nice and stuff like that later. I've only had it a few weeks. Ball joint tool, miscellaneous screwdrivers, sandpaper, batteries, things like that. It's literally just crap. Except for this. That's the stud girls off the Corvette. I was dinking around with it and wanted to drive it in a hurry and just putter it around town, so I didn't bother putting them back on. It does take quite a bit of time to set the valve lash with those on there. Gloves, bags for parts, heavier gloves, which you can see I didn't use them today, but Ziploc bags for parts. Just more crap. Just stuff, arbor for hole saws, extra T-handles. Those doohickeys. What do you call those doohickeys? Helicoils. And magazines. Just a few miscellaneous hot rod magazines. There's a fishing oceanic chart. And then the stereo is important. Chewbacca, my man. Got that guy. Got the dinosaur. And that's about it. So I'll get to this one in another video. I work out of this cart a lot, so I'll get to it in another video, and I'll include, you know, the hanging tools and stuff like that, because I got tools everywhere, and if anybody is interested in seeing it, let me know. We'll do a full breakdown on the car and that car. Real quick, 10-to-1, 91 octane Quick Trip 496. Naturally aspirated, no nitrous, and it drinks Quick Trip 91 with some of their shitty cheap octane booster. That motor is going in that car soon, but we are on the hunt to make this 496 on 91 octane, make this car run 899 or better. We have been low nines. We've been in the bottom half of the nines, but it was running out of gear really bad, and it would run 950, hitting the rev limiter at 7,700 RPM at about 1,000 feet. Or earlier. We literally would coast the car across the finish line, coasting out of the gas for about 3.5 to 4 seconds, and it would run 950 at like 121 miles an hour. It would cross the 8th mile at 120, about 119, and it would run up to around 130 miles an hour and hit the rev limiter, and then we would get out of the gas and coast. So I went from a 486 to a 411. I think mathematically the 411 is probably going to be a little bit too much gear for that car. It really needs a 429, but we just shipped a new motor off to the machine shop. That's a dart block based deal. Big bore, short stroke, a little bit more cubic inches, but I didn't want to do the gear change twice because that motor is going to be coming out of here and going into that car in a dumbed down version later this summer. So if anybody wants the full breakdown on this stuff, we'll do that later. Just let me know in the comments if you want to see that junk and see the rest of the shop. Thanks, guys. McFrazzle Wiener out.